So we are recording, so we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome. This is the Introduction to Teaching with Canvas online course. It's a 5-week, we're doing our orientation day. My name is Chris Rogers. Jim Hotz from the CSIS department, he's going to be your lead instructor for this course. So any questions that you have specifically for Canvas or anything with this course related, please forward all questions to him. I'll be serving as a backup to Jim if needed. So for the agenda today, we want to give you an overview, an introduction to Canvas, how to access Canvas via the Grossmont website, how to log in, give you an idea on how to use, navigate the Canvas user interface, and then also give you an overview and expectation of the course. And with the 5-week course, we want to kind of lay out how the course is laid out and give you some tips on how to make the most out of the class, so it doesn't impact the current load that you have with your personal life and your work life and other assignments and stuff like that. Then after that, Jim will come up and he will talk about a final project checklist. Overall today, your final project starts today. So by the end of the 5-week course, you're going to have a full course with at least 2 modules ready to go for a class you want to teach for the upcoming semester. So basically what we're doing is we're kind of holding your hand throughout this process, getting you started in building your own course, and then by the time the 5 weeks is up, you should be confident enough we can let go of the training wheels, you'll be able to ride the bike on your own and build out the rest of your course. So I know you're a little skeptical, but after we've trained so far it's over 200, between 250 and 300 instructors, and all of them, even the ones that are a little uncomfortable with technology and everything else, they've taken the 5-week course, they felt much better with Canvas afterwards. Not to mention the fact the level of support that's available that Canvas provides and everything else is unparalleled, so you're never going to be left out in the wind. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, as I mentioned, now I did this off recording, but I want to make sure just for the recording. And let me make that clear anyway. So right now I'm recording this using a video conferencing package called Zoom. And this will be posted in the course later on by the end of the day, fully captioned. So if you want to refer to anything that I've talked about today, please, you can go ahead and reference this. Also, as I start getting taught and I start talking and everything else, as I go through my process, I kind of go a little fast. So if you find that I'm going a little too fast for you, please, I encourage you, don't be afraid. I don't get offended. Tell me to stop, tell me to slow down, and go back and I'll repeat anything that you need me to repeat. So with that being said, let's get started. On the Grossmont website, you can click on the Canvas logo right here. With the Canvas logo, we're on the login page, and your username is going to be your first name dot last name. And your password is going to be your 8-digit birth date. So that's your 2-digit month, the 2-digit day, and then the 4-digit year. So if your birthday was on July 15th, 1995, it would be 071519995. Let me go ahead and log in myself. And just so you're clear, for the way that we are with the Canvas Transition Project, come January 2nd, Canvas is going to be the official learning management system for the district. You will not be able to, starting spring intersession, January 2nd, you will not be able to use Blackboard for any class goal or intentions that you have for a spring semester. So what district is going to do, they're going to take away the ability for you to publish an actual course or make your course available to students in spring. However, Blackboard will still be available to you if you still have content that you want to download from Blackboard. So you'll still be able to have access to that. All right, so as we're logged in, do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually do. When I was doing the first, exercise, profile.
Yes.
I was doing it in the training camp.
Uh-huh.
And then when I watched the video that you did on how to put the right number in there.
Right.
I must have sent that thing 3 times to figure out, back to the instruction thing, find your number.
Yeah, we'll go, once I get back to that, I plan on going over the Unit 1 stuff. We'll plan on covering that. Right now, I kind of want to get you started and get familiar with how we can access Canvas and be clear on the actual process there. Yes, Danny?
I got a weekend warrior last week that was a
Uh-huh.
He hadn't taken it to me. spring, will I be able to get access to it?
Can you say that again, Danny? I'm sorry.
I had a student that was a weekend order. It was in the National Guard.
Okay.
And he had to drop, and so he took it incomplete, and he's taking it now. What happens if that happens in the spring? Does a student say, got an incomplete and had to finish the class? Do they still have access to the class?
That's going beyond the scope of what this class offers. This class is supposed to just offer you and teach you how to use actual Canvas, incompletes and stuff like that. I would probably recommend talking with your chair as far as how to handle that information. But for right now, this is about Canvas in and of itself and how we can get started with that. So I'm sorry, is it, forgive me if I'm going to say it, Theoni? Theoni, is that how you pronounce Theoni?
Yeah, my email said 5:34 today. Yeah, because I saw it on the, I was actually headed over to 5:34. Had I not seen that sign,
That's my fault. I apologize. That's my mistake. Usually I'm trying to juggle 4 different classes and I try to kind of templatize and make things and I forget certain things. So,
you work here, you understand.
so I want to make it, is it Theoni? Is that correct? Okay, perfect. So I just want to make clear, so just so you can get up to speed, I'm going to log out real quick with everybody here. We're using Google Chrome just for the scope of this workshop because a lot of times if you use Firefox or whatever other browser, Chrome says, you know, their buttons might say choose file. Firefox might say a different, you know, option, just so we can stay on the same page. But on your own, Chrome or Firefox, I just say stay away from anything Microsoft browser related. So if you could go in and go to the grossmont.edu website. Yeah, grossmont.edu website, and then click on Canvas, and then it's your web advisor username. And I think we've been in workshop. You know how to log in? Okay, good. I just want to make sure catch you up so we're on the same page. So before we get started in the actual semantics of the actual course, I want to give a brief overview on the Canvas user interface. If I enter my password incorrectly. All right. I forgot my thing, so give me 1 second. Once I look this up, does anybody else have any questions for anything? There we go. There we go. All right, so we're logged in right now, and I'm going to explain this actual bar on the left-hand side here. Mine's a purple bar. Your bar would be green. Yours purple as well? Okay, so we're actually on the district. When we're coming from a district account side, when Canvas is built, we're coming from district. When you actually go into a Grossmont related class, that bar should be green. If let's say you teach a class at Cuyamaca and you access Canvas, that bar will actually be blue. Yeah, Grossmont's green, district's purple, Cuyamaca's blue. What we call this is the global navigation bar. The first thing we want to do is, as I mentioned, your password or your login credentials, first name, last name, 6-digit birthday or 8-digit birthday. That's universal. So if you plan on doing grades, or if any one of you plan on doing grades in Canvas, all a student needs to do is a little social engineering, find out your birth date there in your account. So why don't we go ahead and change our password first and figure that out. So to change our password, we're going to go ahead and click on the account. So that's right under the Grossmont logo. You can go into settings, so account and then settings. And then over on the right-hand side, you're going to see 3 buttons. I want the first button I want you to click on is Edit Settings. Yeah, Edit Settings. And then move back, if you want to look on my screen, move back to the center of the screen. Right under Time Zone, there is a link here that says word password, and there's a checkbox here that says Change Password. Go ahead and click on Change Password. if you want, it's right under here. So let me do that one more time here. I'm gonna go, I'll get out. You got it? Okay. So just one more time, I'll go over it. It's settings, right-hand column, edit settings. And then right under time zone, it says password. Click on change password, the change password checkbox, and go ahead and enter your old password and then the new password for your account. And then once you've done that, go ahead and click update settings.
It could not be read. It was in red, some kind of a warning. Set update.
What did it say?
It was gone in a second. I couldn't read it.
Jim will come in and take a look. Hey, Peggy. We're just going over the Canvas. We're going over how to use the Canvas user interface right now. This is something you've already done. If you can go ahead and log in to Canvas via Google Chrome, that'd be greatly appreciated. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Are you going to be is she going to be working with you, or you want to actually take part in the actual course?
I'm considering taking part in the actual course.
Okay. Perfect.
It's the online one.
Right, correct. So if you are, go ahead and please feel free to later on email me so I can actually enroll you once you make your decision.
I was going to decide.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, we'll work with you.
I just want to be overwhelmed.
So is everybody else okay in resetting their password? We're good? All right, cool. As we go through, I want to quickly go over notifications real quickly. Notifications are going to be something very important for you to be aware of. So if you were on the settings screen, click on notifications. It'll be on the very top part of under account settings. Under notifications, there are 4 major icons that you need to sit there and be aware of. One is notify me right away, and that is signified by a checkbox. 2 is send daily summary. That is signified by a clock. So send daily summary be like by the end of the day. I'm not sure what they do as far as time is concerned, but assume end of day, 5 o'clock, you might get a daily summary of all the activity that's gone on in your Canvas account. Send weekly summary. It's symbolized by the calendar icon. So that means any announcements or any notification specified by this. I believe at the very bottom of the page it says your weekly notifications will be sent by Saturday between 3 and 5 a.m. And then an X is do not send me anything, meaning I don't want to know anything about any of this stuff. I'm going to go over the key ones that I feel like are important for you that I want to make sure that are set. But then in the orientation module, which hopefully if you started, there's a section on notifications that I'm going to point out later on that I want you to be aware of and pay attention to, so you can take a look at all the other notifications there. The first thing that I want you to sit there and look at course activities, I want to make sure announcements, that announcements is set to notify me right away. So that would be, if you look up on my screen, it would be the green checkbox. The green checkbox. Yeah, default. The one that I know is not default is submission comments. So that one should say, by default, it should say send daily summary. I like it to say notify me right away. And the reason why is when you start submitting your assignments, a lot of instructors, they'll come, or a lot of people in this course, they'll submit their assignment, ask relevant questions. I give you feedback via the submission comments. And if you don't have this set, if it's set with that clock, you might miss any comments that I get back to you, especially if there's something required that I'm asking you to change and correct on your actual assignment. For discussions, so with your discussions, you're going to have several discussion posts for each unit. And not only is it the task to reply to the instructor's prompt for the actual discussion post, but to reply to at least 2 of your classmates. So there, I'd like for you to have the notify me right away set for your actual discussions. And then finally, for conversations, added to conversation and conversation message, please have the checkbox set for those two items as well. Conversations, I'll go over briefly once I get to the point, but Canvas has a robust inbox, a conversations inbox that we're going to be using for the duration of this course to communicate to each other. So if I myself or Jim has a message to you, you want to make sure that notify me right away is checked, because you're going to get a notification that we just sent you a message. So those two things are checked. So those are the key things that you would want to make sure you have set in your notifications. And like I said, once I get into the orientation module, I'll show you the notification guide there. And then you can go in and zero in and dial in anything else and change anything else that you might feel is important to you.
Chris?
Yes.
Mentioned that everybody should scroll to the top and look at the email address at the top of the column with the green check marks. Is that the email address where you want to be notified? Now, if it isn't, or you want them sent to your phone or elsewhere, there's another place where you can set up additional columns. There's a place in there where you can change that email address. If you want to be notified other than at the address that's shown there.
That's the only, and then
I just updated today, and now I've got 2 addresses, so it's pulling the data from places.
No, it will send the data to 2 different places, depending upon how you have the check mark set.
For instance, I've been on here trying to set this up yesterday. It says cell number. You want our cell number there?
No, that's-
You have to see that?
No, nobody's, first, nobody's going to be able to see it. Secondly, it's simply a way for you to be notified.
So then I need to go back and actually cell number.
Yeah, you put your cell number in, make sure you have SMS. Now, be aware that it works sometimes for SMS and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
You'll know when you put in your cell, it'll ask you, it'll say, I'm going to send you an SMS right now.
Okay.
And you need to put in a code number to make sure it's really you.
Okay.
If you don't get that code number, then forget SMS.
All right.
usually what I did was, do you have an iPhone or an Android phone, an iPhone? So you could download the Canvas app from the App Store, which is free. And they have push notifications too. So push notifications via the app. That's what I use on my phone. So you could do that instead of your cell phone too. Because I didn't like it because with the phone, I get the ding, 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 ding. And with the push notifications, when I have it, I'll get the notifications in my phone, but I don't have to hear it. And I just go up on my notifications and I see, oh, you replied or sent me a message or anything else. And so just to be clear where that is, when I go back to settings, if you look up on my screen on settings, over on the right-hand side, there's a section here that says ways to contact. So you have your email address. You can add multiple email addresses. And I believe I never did confirm my personal email address, but I believe once you confirm it, you could set the one that's going to be default to where the default messages go to. And on the other one, on the bottom here, you can sit here and see that I've added my phone number, but I don't get the SMS. I turn that off. I use everything on the application itself. All right, moving on. Let's move on to the rest of the global navigation. I want to click on the dashboard and explain how the dashboard actually works. So in your global navigation, make sure you click on dashboard. It should be the second icon. I'm on the global navigation. So I was originally on account settings, and I'm clicking on dashboard right here. So we've all used Blackboard in here, correct? You know, in Blackboard, when you're on the Welcome tab, you had that My Courses box that listed all your courses that you're currently teaching or part in. That's this right here. So this is the courses that you want to pay attention to the most. The ones that you're focused on, you're teaching, you're focused on the most. And so each of these little course cards, each course is called a sandbox. Blackboard, we call them containers. You'll hear Jim and I refer to them as sandboxes. The one that you should be paying attention to is for the actual course. It's called CTF2, Introduction to Teaching with Canvas. That is the actual course where you'll be participating in reviewing assignments, doing the discussion boards, and taking your quizzes and stuff like that. Yes, Peggy? Okay, well, there's one part here that we might, and I'll go into one other side that might be an issue, and we'll take a look at that right here in a second. What we have also here, you have a training sandbox as well. So it's called GC Canvas Training, and it should be your last name there. That is where when you actually go into the actual course, you're going to be doing a lot of hands-on assignments. So if it says hands-on assignment, create a module or create a content page, those hands-on assignments, you will be completing those in your Canvas Training Sandbox. So now, let's take a look at the actual courses icon right at the bottom here. So right under the dashboard, I want you to click on Courses. And at the very bottom here, I want to sit here and click on All Courses. If you've done this, this is an entire listing of every single course that you're currently teaching for this semester. If you look up on my screen, you'll notice something different here. You'll see that there's a star to the left of the title of each sandbox. Some stars are orange and some stars are white. The stars that are orange are the courses that I want to see on my dashboard. The stars that are white are courses I don't want to have anything to deal with. So for the duration of this course, I want you to have the CTF2, Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course, checked. So click that star so it's orange, and then locate your GC Canvas Training Sandbox and make sure that one is orange. And then everything else can remain white. Did that work? No, it's not there for you? You're in the wrong account here. You're on CCC Online and you're not on the Grossmont one. So I would go ahead and log out of this and then go to the grossmont.edu website, click on the Canvas logo and log into the correct instance of Canvas. Did everyone else, did that work properly for everyone else? So if you click on your dashboard again, you should notice you should only see two cards on your dashboard. CTF2 and then your GC course. Perfect. I'm going to briefly talk about the calendar. Typically with Blackboard, I was never really a fond of the Blackboard calendar that Blackboard had, and that's why I never taught it. However, the calendar here is very robust, and it's something that I'm going to sit here and promote a lot more. There's just one thing, and we'll get more to the calendar in Unit 3. However, the one thing I want to make clear on this is a calendar section or a calendar tool, and you have multiple calendars for each course. So you have, you have an individual calendar. You'll see your name, like on mine, right at the top. And then for each course that you have, you'll have a calendar for that as well. You seem a little, are we good in the back?
I don't see your name.
So mine is right here. So if I click right here, it's at the top of the list.
Oh, yeah, all right.
So on the calendar, so we're on the calendar page. Over on the far right-hand side here, we have a list of calendars. And then we have every single calendar is a sandbox, and at the very top it should be your name. And that's your own personal calendar. So the thing that I want to make clear on, and one of the things that as we've taught in this course, one of the mistakes that instructors make, and if you look up on my screen, if you notice, I'm pretty sure that if you look into your calendar section, you'll notice that all of your calendar items here are selected. And you can see as I turn these on, my calendar gets populated. Here's a problem with this. If you look up on my screen, if I go ahead and click on a create a new event button, I create a new event and I'm supposed to select a calendar. Most instructors will just go ahead and click submit. What's the problem? My calendar is selected. So if I'm sitting here in this course and I have CTF2, there's some deadline that I'm telling you it's due that's supposed to be on the calendar for your course. I just added it to mine. You will never see it. You will miss it. I will misgrade it. and then you could see the actual problem that actually exists if you select the wrong calendar for something specific. So, and if I click on the drop-down menu, then you have all your calendars here. To make it easy for you, and instead of dealing with all of this stuff, what I want you to do is only have 2 calendars selected. So I'm going to turn all of these off. The only 2 calendars I want you to have selected is your CTF2, so you can get an idea of what's expected and what's due in this actual course. And then if you scroll all the way down, find your GC Canvas training template and turn that one, or calendar, and turn that one on. So GC and yeah, turn on. So I want you click, if you look on my right here, I know it's a little hard to see, but there's a little checkbox right here. I can sit there and click on that right there. So you notice so when you actually look at my calendar here, it should be the same. CTF2, the course is blue, so all the items that are due are going to be done in blue. And then your course is going to be whatever color that you picked there. So that's the calendar. The next item is your Canvas training, or the conversations inbox. This is the place where core communication will make, and in the actual course, there's a link to a video tutorial I'd like for you to watch. It's only a short minute tutorial. It's right under, if you refer to the global navigation, and you sit there and you were on the calendar, and I just clicked right under that, and there was the inbox right under there. I call that the conversations inbox. So for the scope of this course, any messages that you have in question for anything else, any questions you have for Jim, you can go ahead and direct them there. And to get a brief idea of how to send a message, up in the top gray bar off to the right, like right above the envelope, you're going to see this little leaf here. You can compose a message. You'll have a composed message screen. I'm sorry?
I've got inbox highlighted, all courses dropped down.
So all in one right there. Now it's just a little left. And then I was just explaining that in case. So Theoni, once you click, and everybody else, once you click on that leaf, if you click on the drop-down menu for course, select course, you would select CTF2. And then in the to field, if you wanted to send a message to James, I call him Jim. He's officially James in the course. So if you want to send a message to James, you can type in his name and click on it, and then you can send him an actual message. Now, if I was to finish this message, James here, he would get that message not only in his Canvas account, but he'd get a notification in his email inbox. That email, whatever was specified in the settings area. So Jim could either A, log into Canvas, go in the inbox and reply to it, or B, he could be in whatever email. Jim likes Gmail. He could reply in his Gmail account, and it will go back into Canvas, and I'll get that message back. And the nice thing about it is, Instructure, the company that made this product, they're very, they adhere very well to FERPA regulations. If you haven't heard of FERPA regulations, having third-party information on their services, and they protect the privacy of both the instructor and the student. So technically, throughout the actual course, you do not have to give your student your email address or any contact information if you feel uncomfortable with that. You can use Canvas as a sole point of communication. You can receive communication, communicate back and forth, and they would never see anyone's email address at all, or phone number, because I know you mentioned your phone number as well. So I highly recommend, for the duration of this course, anything that you have questions relating about Canvas or this course, please use the conversations inbox. And again, I'll point you to a tutorial on to get a more detailed overview on how to use this feature. Yes, sir.
Does this mailer have attachments or anything like that in it?
Attachments, so if you look at the bottom right, left-hand corner right over here, you see two icons here. One is a little YouTube icon. You can do media if you wanted to, if you wanted to actually record a message, an audio message or a video message. Or right here, if you have the little paperclip, you can add an attachment.
When it says record, does that use the computer hardware and nothing else? Does it have its own multimedia recorder in it?
Well, it's using a flash player, so it's going to be using a flash recording right here. It's not going to work with mine because I'm using my camera for this recording right here, but it's using flash in the webcam that's on this. No, it's flash. So that's the conversations inbox. Now, if there's anything that you're going to take away from this global navigation and you're going to write anything down, please write down what I'm about to say right now. So under the conversations inbox, two icons down, there is a help icon here, big question mark here. I would like for you to click on that. Under the in the global navigation on the left-hand side, click on the help icon. It's the very last icon. It's a question mark. In the new menu, at the very bottom of the list, you're going to see a link there that says call for help. Please click on that link. I'm going to make this number very big on the screen. You're going to write it down. It's 1-844-600-4953. I'll say it one more time. 1-844-600-4953. What is this number and why am I making you write it down? The district has purchased a Canvas 24/7 help package for both faculty and students. Blackboard, as you'll know, there was no student support help desk here on campus. We made it, students go to the instructor to report those issues. They knew the instructor would come to me to troubleshoot those issues. So at any point in time, any technical issues that you're specifically having with Canvas for you or your students, they call this number. Any login issues you are having or your students are having, they call this number. I want to make it clear, for Canvas, there is no on-campus support for students in regards to this product. So you can't send a student to, if a student can't log into your online class, your game programming class, you can't send that student over to admission records because they're not going to have any, they don't have any knowledge or anything about it. What they'll do is they'll send them to the tech mall, and the tech mall is just going to give them this number anyways. So give this number to your students. Yep, I would put it anywhere and make it clear, crystal clear in your syllabus and any other documentation for your students. And they are fantastic. I call them constantly and ask them questions about Canvas, and they've been a great help to me.
The other hand, I've been teaching 4 classes so far for the first time that are heavily Canvas dependent. I have not had one student question about Canvas. They just go in and they seem to know how to use it.
Yeah, we've had that. We've been doing a pilot program since spring, and we've had positive feedback from students all around. So I closed that tab. I am back on my Canvas screen. I'm still on the help icon right here. The last part that I want you to click on is the very first item on the top of the list. It's called Search the Canvas Guides. Search the Canvas Guides. It's not there? It's not, okay. So you do have the Search the Canvas Guides. Okay, go ahead and click on that link. That's the important link that I want you to go to.
This is something we really didn't have in Blackboard. It was there, but it was really awful. And this is the opposite. It's really good. There's so much community. I just use Google rather than even going under. You go into Google Canvas, and then my question, and get into here anyway. And there's always an answer.
This is pretty much your Bible for Canvas, your user manual, everything else. Blackboard doesn't even come close to the amount of features that's offered here. So with this guide, you could sit there and say, search the guide. If you wanted to learn how to use the grade book, I could type that in. It comes back with a, how do I use the grade book? And I could click on this actual link here. If you look up on my screen, it takes you to a step-by-step guide on how to, and it breaks down the grade book in such an easy fashion. And the format that these are actually written in is stuff that I have an application that, that could create this screenshot type way of instruction. It's the same manner. It's really easy to actually follow. If you wanted to drill down within the actual guides right here, you have your icons here. I would go ahead and click on the Canvas Guides button. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the Instructor button. I would bookmark this page, because this is your user guide, in whatever bookmarking tool or browser you use. And if we're going back to the actual grade book, if I scroll down, you can click on any item that you want. I'm going to click on grades right here, since that's the first thing that I searched for. And here's the complete section on how to use the grade book. And it covers every single thing you want to know. So starting with, how do I use the grade book again? I click on this link, and I go through, and it's going to take me to those guides. And I can go through and just read through every single item here. And it's not like you have to read every specific thing. You can only focus on those things that you want to learn. So again, I highly recommend you take advantage of this. It's very useful, and it will help you immensely as you continue to learn Canvas. So I'm going back to my Canvas account. That pretty much covers everything, the key points that I wanted to talk about in regards to the global navigation. Do we have any last minute questions before we dive into the actual course? Nope. All right, let's get into the actual course. So go back into your Canvas account and click on your dashboard. I want to make sure you click on CTF2, Introduction to Teaching with Canvas. I want to give you a breakdown of how the course is actually going to work, to give you an idea of how a student is going to be working with this. Also, what I'm going to do is what you see on screen, my screen, I am in the instructor view. You are in the student view. So I am personally going to go in the student view myself. You want to write this down, because in your course, you can go into the student view of your course as an instructor to see what the student actually sees. So in student view, you don't have to do this. You won't be able to do this, but when you get as an instructor in your course, you will. Just write this down right now. I'm going to click on Settings. Settings, and if you refer to the right-hand side, second item right over here, if you look up on screen here, you're going to see a button here that says Student Views. Student View. So Student View, I know I'm in Student View because there's this big purple border around the screen. And now my course, my navigation changes, and it matches what you see. So as an instructor, you're going to use this tool anytime you upload new content, create new assignments, quiz. You're going to go in the Student View and make sure that things are correct. But here we can stay on the same page. So as a student, you're going to go on, you're always brought to your home page. The home page is the landing page. You can design this in many different ways as an instructor, but it gives you a way to give the key information that you want to your students. So I've decided at the very top, you're going to see the most recent announcements. And as you can see, I made the very first announcement on the start of this course, September 25th. Welcome to the Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course. And you can click on that relative link. You can click on the View Announcement link, and you can view that actual announcement. And I gave some instructions here on how to get started. At the very bottom here, we have some key buttons here. So as you see here, not only do we have our course menu that says Announcements, Syllabus, Modules, we have some green buttons here that says Announcements, Syllabus, Modules, Discussions. I kept these key items here. The reason why I did that is twofold. One is because of the hamburger button, I call it. What is the hamburger button? It's this 3-line button right here, right to the right of our district logo. If you were to click on this button, this hamburger button, it closes the course menu. And then a lot of people freak and panic, and I can't use the course anymore. So if that ever happens, you still have buttons here in the actual course, and you can still navigate it. Also, on a mobile device, If a student downloads that Canvas app that I told you about, you can download from the iPhone App Store or iTunes App Store. When you download it and you view your course in Canvas on that app, your home page is the first thing that comes up. Students don't sit there and see this navigation. This comes up in a different area. This is the first thing they see. So as a navigation area, I give this as a way for students to quickly get around in my course on a mobile device. Then and what I do is I actually include all of the links to the very first page of each of my modules. So as we get started, you're going to want to click on the Start Here Getting Started Orientation link. That gets you started in the actual course. Brings you to an orientation page. So on my welcome announcement, I mentioned the Canvas Getting Started. There's an 11-minute video here. If you have not watched that video, please do that at your own time. And then we talk about the introduction here. So I'm going to kind of briefly go over a lot of what this says on your own time. I encourage you to please read this in more detail. So this course is 5 weeks long. Based on the duration of this course, all content will be organized into 5 weekly learning units. Participants will have the option to work 1 unit ahead from the current unit we are working on. However, they must meet set requirements for the current unit before moving on to the next unit. So as we're working on modules, right now we're on the Getting Started orientation and then the Unit 1. And once I get into the modules, they'll make more sense. But we're on that first part. If you complete that this week on time or even early, and Jim has a chance to grade it, you can move on to Unit 2 the next week. But once you do Unit 2, and after you've completed that, Jim is not going to grade Unit 2 until Unit 2 becomes the official focus, which will be next Monday. So every Monday, a new unit will officially begin. And he will grade those units when that unit officially begins. Did that make sense? Okay, good. Each week, we have a chance to attend a Canvas lab, and I'll show you that schedule. But overall, every week, it's going to be every Wednesday, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. And we talk about the actual unit in question. And we kind of go beyond what's actually covered in the course and address some of the specific issues that you might have in regards to your final project or the course itself. So and when we talk about the Canvas lab, in the syllabus section, which I'll show you, there's a section called the course summary that's going to give the entire schedule for the next 5 weeks, so you can be up to date on what to expect. Again, I want to make this clear. I'm going to sound like a broken record because I'm going to say this 1,000 times. For the fall 2017 semester, this is the last time anyone will be able to use Blackboard to teach or use to facilitate a face-to-face course. Come January 2nd, 2018, Canvas is the official learning management system of the college. You will not be able to use Blackboard for the spring 2018 semester. However, you will be able to go into Blackboard and download any content that you have that you might want to bring into Canvas. Take note, we didn't develop the original format to this course. At the end of every course, I make changes based on the feedback you give me. So if there's any accommodations or anything that you feel that needs to be clarified or corrected, please let me know. The average time, not including lab sessions because we don't make lab sessions required, is 5 to 8 weeks of your time doing the online content. And that's dependent on your technical proficiency with learning management systems and computers. Be mindful of your current workload, and I kind of sit there and say this, faculty in the past who did not take into account the current workload, they kind of suffer in here because their job is, demanding more of their time. If you feel you need to drop the course due to current obligations, you can send a message to Jim or myself. However, I want to emphasize and be clear that if you drop this course, you only have 1 more training session coming up, and then we're not going to offer any more 5-week training courses until intersession. If you're teaching in the spring, you might not be ready to be able to teach a course online. So I understand you probably have a lot of obligations that you have on yourself. As you work with us, and if you communicate with us on a regular basis about your situation, if you need any accommodations, we'll try our best to accommodate you within this course. So keep that in mind if you're having troubles with your workload before you question anything about dropping the course. Again, with web browsers, just to be clear, we'll be using Google Chrome. You can use Firefox, just I make it clear, do not use Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. And just in the mind, so today is the day, or this week, you start your final project. What is your final project? It's to create the first 2 weeks of a Canvas course. 2 weeks or 2 modules that you plan on teaching for a future semester. And you're completing this in your GC Canvas training sandbox. Your assignments will include a specific homepage, creating assessments, and then uploading your documents, creating content pages. And when working with these assignments and stuff like that, not only are we going to judge you or grade you on your technical ability to be able to create an announcement or create an actual assignment, but that content must be applicable to an actual course. When I showed you the announcement, later on, I think in Unit 1, you're going to create an announcement. You could go through the steps where I click on the announcement, click on add announcement, add a title, add some copy, and then click submit. Some instructors in the past will go in and they'll click announcement, they'll follow the instructions, they'll click on the add announcement button, they'll just say some title, and then in the rich context editor, they'll say some content, and they'll literally type in some and click submit. That's not applicable to an actual course because, like I said, we're trying to help you right now build an actual course to get you ready. So if Jim comes through, and even if you complete the actual assignment, technically you do it correctly, but if Jim feels it does not appeal or would apply to an actual course environment, he's going to grade you accordingly, and that might lose some points in your assignment. Yes? Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
How do I know that he's got, he just come into my box?
No, when you go through and you actually make the submission, so I'm going to go, when we get into a hands-on assignment, I'll show you how to submit an actual assignment. When you go through the actual submission assignment, and I'll show you, I'm going to leave student view, and I'm going to go into the course that I'm teaching. So I started an actual course. I have a course going on right now with instructors. We're in actually week 3 right now. So when I go into my course, and this is CTF1, you notice here that I have a to-do list right here. On the bottom right here, it says to-do. I have Unit 2, I have 18 discussion boards I need to grade. I have Unit 3. Some people have actually started completing these assignments. I have all these items to need to grade. So the moment you sit here and grade something or submit an assignment, like add an announcement in the course, Jim will get a notification right here that you submitted something, and he will go ahead and grade those accordingly. But that didn't answer your question?
Yeah, I just need to know, how do I know if I submitted it properly?
He will always get it.
Well,
Yeah.
what you're saying is, what he's saying is that he will capture a URL to his profile,
Right.
whatever, and he'll post that URL, and he knows I'm going to see that there's a URL there. And how does he know that when I click on it, I'm going to see his profile function?
Right.
And unfortunately, there isn't really a good way for you to know, because what happens when I click on it will be different than when you click on it, because I'm logged in differently than you are. So the best way to do it is to, at least in the past, I've given an example of what the URL should look like. Right. So it should have a slash bar, the word people, another slash bar, and a number.
And it is unique numbers.
Right.
You go to people.
So if it looks like that, chances are pretty good it's going to take you right. Yeah. Okay. Then they will not take me there. They'll probably take me to my own.
That's why I was reading this. Go back and try to use it.
Unfortunately, there isn't any way because you can't log in as me.
Right,
And then click on it and see what happens.
Okay.
And I'll try to give some other tips as things, a couple of things that I do too, and to point some things out on the page too, in my help. And then also, if you're ever sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm about to submit this, but I don't know how to submit it, you could send, and I've been telling people, because in my course, we've had some people submit some incorrect links. And if you have one, if you're ever in doubt, send us a message. Hey, Chris, or hey, Jim, in the conversations inbox, here's the address that I'm about to send for the announcements, my announcements assignment. is this the correct link? And I can click on that and I can, I can judge it accordingly. And we'll check for you too.
But also, Chris has made some videos in each of the assignments that are
Yeah, yeah.
And those are really pretty good. They walk you through steps you need to do. And sometimes, yeah, you need to change to a different sandbox altogether.
That's what confused me. Training sandbox. And I was looking for the people.
Right.
So you say the video. About people,
Right.
Then you get your URL address.
Right.
I couldn't find it in sandbox.
Right.
And I didn't realize I had to go back to the training sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
People like,
Right. We'll go over some tips and a couple of things that we have to actually do. But those are some good questions. Any other questions before I move on? We're good? All right. So typically, as you're moving through the actual course right now, so with the 0.1, we've kind of sat there and make it known. Let me go back into the settings real quick, because there's one thing. I'm going to go back into student view, and I want to go back on that page. So you should still be on that 0.1 welcome. With that 0.1 welcome, you can set with your module-specific requirements things that you need to do to complete the actual, what I feel the actual requirement for that module. If you notice what I say here and say at the bottom, it says, before you go, there is a Mark as Done button located in the top right-hand corner of the page. Make sure you click that button before going on the next page. So I want you to physically go up at the very top, and go ahead and do this right now. Go ahead and go on the very top right-hand corner, click Mark as Done. Pay attention to those little prompts, because if you notice, if I don't sit here and say, if you watch on my screen, if I go down, I did not click on it. It's not clicked. And if I go to the next item right here, oh, it actually worked. Certain items might be locked from you. Yeah. Right, you're not going on. So the next page, so at the very bottom, you can see here on the next page, there's bio information on both Jim and myself. Click next. It's at the very bottom of the right-hand corner, right? You got it? Okay. So we should be on the 0.3 Canvas lab. So 0.3, you want to write, if you want to write that down later on, you can write, this is the entire schedule for the labs. The only ones that have not been confirmed right now are weeks 3 and 4. And I'm sure Jim will update that as soon as he has more information. So the current lab today is on 9/27. The next one is on 10/4. Yes?
Okay, so quick thing. Next week, is it going to be a 5:34? Is that like a done thing, or are we going to like get this?
It's a done thing. This was a done thing. It's just the email that got wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was my fault. I apologize.
All right. I was just curious.
Remember when I talked about notifications on here, 0.4, I encourage you to read this. On the Canvas Instructor Guide, there's how do notification preferences work? How do I set my notification preferences? These are kind of the guides on the Canvas community. Please take a look at this so you can get a better idea on how notifications work, because I only went over it briefly. Top right-hand corner, Mark is done if you want to continue. And then once you mark is done, you can click on the next item. Discussion. So I'm assuming, if we have to sit here and see, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and post in the introductions area. Introduce yourself to the class. You can play the discussion game. It's optional. Provide 3 statements, 2 true, 1 is a lie. And then the whole game is figure out which one's a lie. And then you're supposed to reply to at least 2 of your classmates by Sunday night. Also, with discussions, each discussion is going to have a grading rubric. So to have an understanding, you'll notice here on the grading rubric, it says click on the gear icon located in the top right-hand corner, then click on Show Rubric to view the grading requirements. So if I click on this gray icon, or the gear icon at the top right-hand corner, I could say Show Rubric, and I can get an idea on how Jim is going to grade me on this discussion.
Actually, you won't, because I haven't updated that.
0.6 is for your own information. This is the first online class. This is just an etiquette page that I'm going to upload and probably make available to instructors via the Canvas Commons, which is something I'll talk about at a later time. 0.6, you can click on the Mark as Done button. I'm going to click Next. Now, for the 0.7 hands-on create a course outline assignment, this is a very important assignment. I'm going to spend a little time on this one. So, as I stated before, your final project is going to be to create at least 2 modules of a course. And to start off, you're going to need to create some course outline. So typically, as a base, we kind of go on a week-by-week basis as a base model to just teach new instructors, especially who are new to online teaching in general. But with your modules, you could either do it by week, or you could do it by context, whatever it may be. So like for gaming, I don't know, I'm trying to think of gaming. What are 2 gaming topics or subjects that you teach?
I don't anymore, but.
What did you, just for example? 3D modeling.
History and differences for electronic gaming.
Okay, history, that might be one, that could be one module, the history of video games, and then the difference of modeling or something, that could be another one. All I want is we want an actual outline that's in chronological order. So the module would be labeled, named appropriately, getting started. So mine is getting started orientation. And we have, in this module, it's going to be in order of succession what we're going to be focused on for the entire view of this module. Again, this could be 1 week worth of content, as it is in my course, or it could be in an overall context. This module could probably take 2 weeks or however long it might be. Notice each module item is labeled according, or content item is labeled accordingly. I label these items 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0, and so on and so forth. I also specify context for what these items are. So 0.1, all I want you to do is read that item. 0.5 is a graded discussion. And then 0.7 is a graded assignment. Why do I have those numbers there? I didn't do those numbers there for the longest time. And then I ran into an issue, and I'm going to leave student view real quickly. And I'm going to take you to a pages section. A pages section, you're going to learn more about content pages in Unit 2. But that's just basically where I create items that I just want you to read. If you look on my screen, because it's not going to be relevant to your course right now, if you look up on my screen, you can see all of the items that I have numbered here. 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. And what's really good about this is I don't have to think about what those items are. I can look at this item and say, this is Module 3. Module 3 is about communication. Item 3.3, I automatically know where that belongs. However, if I scroll down, then you'll start to notice I got about more than 25 to 50 items here. I have no idea where these things are. So as you're starting to go through and think about this, it might not be much of an issue now as you're starting off in Canvas, but when you're coming, I started doing this course in November of 2016. And now I'm coming up on a year now, and I'm dealing with this problem right now. Thankfully, it's not much of an issue, but the day that it becomes an issue for me to be able to sort through and all of this stuff, it's going to be a headache for me to actually sit there and say, okay, where are these pieces of content in my actual module setup? So I encourage you as an instructor later on down the road, it's going to save you so much time and effort later on to use this numbering convention in your course. Yes? Yeah, you can rename them.
Oh, so you can impose leading numbers on them now.
I could do that, but I'm just saying that because I didn't do that in the beginning, that's going to cost me the headache of right now dealing with it, versus if I would have done that in the beginning, I wouldn't have had this headache that I'm dealing with now, is what I'm trying to sit there and say. Yeah, so if you go back in modules, and I believe this goes in, you have an example here in Unit 2, I believe. You're going to get to Unit 2, and it's talking about 2.4. When we get to Unit 2, which will be next week, it's going to be talking about organizing content. This kind of breaks down everything that I'm talking about right now. So it'll make more sense there later on. Just for the sake of knowing right now, all you need to do as far as the create or outline assignment, follow the outline that I have right here. All you need to do, open up Microsoft Word, create 2 modules, label them however you want, week 1, week 2, for a specific context. Number your content items accordingly, and then just put the appropriate context right there.
Now notice how these numbers work. We refer to this as an outline, but it's really not an outline. We've had instructors turn in this in actual outline format. That outline format has repeating numbers in it. You might have 2A 4 or 5 times. That's not what this is. That's more like a technical manual numbering system where we have start off with a unit number and then a period and then a alphabetical order number. It'll make it a lot easier if you put these in alphabetical order. So 1.2, then 1.25, like that. So the 1 sorts by the 1s, then the period, then the 2 comes before 230.
I don't know what you were saying, but all of a sudden I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Are you saying this thing doesn't sort directly?
No, it does not. It sorts alphabetically. So if you say we have a 0.3 and you want to add another one, just put in a 0.31 and it'll sort for you. So it's not going to a 31, it's going to 1.3. Then a 1 sorts for space. We want these to, if they sort, we want them to sort alphabetically.
I need to see some examples which really confuse me.
Yeah. And I'll show you an example in a live course that I have going now.
When Jim
The other
takes.
important thing is put a verb on each one. Chris has that. He's got it in all uppercase. He's got it in parentheses. He's got read. I put mine immediately after the number.
That's your context.
The students don't know what those icons mean. And Canvas has 40 different icons, and they're never going to learn what they all are. So if you say read or quiz or discuss,
Icons that
then they'll know what they're supposed to do.
So if you look, so right now, if you look on my screen right now when we're talking about modules, when Jim is talking about the icons, he's mentioning the icons here. So when I have that, it's hard to see. I don't know.
Right.
Can you see it here?
Barely.
Yeah, so the icon here, that's a page. You have an icon here that's a page with a pencil. There's one with a rocket ship. That's an actual quiz.
Yeah.
So it's like a quiz. How do you know that's an actual quiz? That's why I sit there and put that item there. Yes.
Yeah.
Since you do this in Microsoft Word,
Whatever word processing program, it doesn't matter.
then where do you put it?
You'll actually go through. So what I would actually do is here, like in my settings, and let me go back here. So let me go back into 7. I'm actually going to download this example. Okay. Now I'm going to go into student view. So I'm going to be a student, a pretend student. So in my modules section, I'm going to go into the 0.7. And so once I've created my document, I'm going to click on the Submit Assignment button. And at the very bottom here, there's going to be a file upload. I'm going to say Choose File. It's bringing me up now, too.
And it can be in docx or rich text or what?
I'm going to look real quick because okay, that's interesting. I'm going to look real quick. Let me look real quick on my settings.
Pretty much any Google Docs, docx,
But then I go ahead and I select my file.
PDF.
And then once I click open, then I'll sit there and say Submit Assignment. And then that's how you submit your assignment. Did that make sense? No, this one, you're going to create your outline and you're going to submit it in your CTF2. We're going to submit it for the CTF2 assignment.
Oh, 1. Yeah. 0, 1.
And then if you look up on my screen, up on my screen right now, you'll notice, and as soon as I submit it, you'll see a confirmation here that says submission, you turned it in on specific date and time. So you know it's a successful submission. So you know I actually got it. Right, exactly. That's another reason why, too, if you look, here's one thing on my screen so we can actually understand the actual grading right now. If you take a look at my screen right now, notice on right over, there's a 0.7 create an outline assignment. Somebody's already submitted it, but there's 2 submissions here. So this is an outline here. Julio actually created this and he completed it correctly. So we can go ahead and give him, I'm going to go ahead and give him a grade right now. So you actually sit there and see he did everything correctly. Notice, so with the assignments that we have here, official assignments start on, the official unit starts on Monday. The following, all coursework is going to be due that following Sunday. So if you submit your content before the actual deadline date, and if there's something that you question that's not correct, that Jim needs you to make you correct, that's why I wanted you to have that submission comments set to notify me right away, because Jim will sit there and in the assignment comments box, if there's anything that he needs to tell you to correct, he's going to send you a message there. And then you're going to get a notification via your email to make sure that's, correct. So even if, maybe if you didn't get a chance to confirm it in the beginning before your submission, either way, we're going to figure out a way to make sure that you're going to get a correct assignment submitted before the actual deadline date. And so by the deadline date, so as again, I'll make it clear, official unit assignments start on a Monday. They're due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. Unless communicated, if you have some emergency or something else comes up and you're not able to get to your assignments, unless you communicate it to Jim, no late work will be, you will not get points for any late work. However, you still have to complete the work to go on to the next assignment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
If there's an emergency, I need your hospital admission forms. Really? I'm not getting great late assignments.
So let me go back to the actual course, and I want to move real quickly. I want to kind of set up and actually look at an actual module. So we're on the getting started orientation. I want to take a look at Unit 1 now. I am on, so on my right-hand side here, I click on, now if I want to sit there and go through, I'm looking at my modules right now. I clicked on, how did I get here?
That screen.
I clicked on modules.
I don't have a module to click on. I've got Grossmont on a purple bar, account dashboard courses.
Get into a class.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
Yeah, you're in class.
You guys are so close to this that you've forgotten what it's like not to know.
So are you back in your course? So what I want to make sure, I got out of the course. I apologize because I assumed you were still in the course. I got in the course. I went back in the CTF2. Okay, and I needed to get back in the actual course. And what I wanted to do is go into the modules, because there's one thing I wanted to point out to you. I could get you to the module section, but I need you to look up on screen because you haven't completed certain requirements yet, so you're not going to be able to see on screen what you're about to see on my screen. So if you're going to just, yeah, that's why. So if we could look up on screen now. With the modules section, I wanted to point you to an actual unit module because the getting started is just an actual orientation. Each unit module is going to start off with an overview page. With that overview page, it's going to cover what the module is actually about, the student learning objectives that you actually have to complete, and all the items that you need to complete by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. You have 1.3, anything that says instructional content, that's your required reading. But there's something very clear that I want to make, because we get comments on this. A lot of people feel how overwhelming this course actually is, and to a degree it is. But there's a lot of things that instructors did that they did not have to do, and I'll explain what that is. So if I go through here, and let's say I'm going to click each of this reading, you have tabs here. Now, I want you to read each tab, and it's not a lot of reading. I mean, I could do this in less than 2 minutes and read everything here. However, there are links here. For example, Canvas Getting Started Instructor Guide. If I click on that link and I go to this actual page, this is where we get the overwhelming, oh my God, this course takes forever. Because there's few instructors felt like they had to sit here and check out every single link on this page. And they felt it was so daunting and everything else. I'm like, you don't have to read every single link that's on the, every single stuff. I encourage you to click through and take a look at these links. And if there's something here that you find that might be helpful to you, go ahead and bookmark it in your bookmarking tool of choice. But don't feel like you have to read every single item or every link on a page to be able to move on and complete the actual assignment. Does that make sense? Just read these in detail, and then just go over these and click on this, and what is the rich content editor? Okay, this is great. I can read this, and I can bookmark this for later review. And then you can use this for reference later on if you find yourself stuck on a specific part of an assignment or something that you're actually working on. And if you use that as a shortcut, it'll cut some time down on the work that you spend each week on this course. Obviously, if you have videos, watch these videos. They're only 4 minutes long. I mean, a lot of these videos are actually short and everything else. But don't feel like you have to read every single link on this actual page. A lot of these are just for reference only. I'm going to go ahead and click back on the modules page. And I'm going to click on 1.5 add announcement. On certain hands-on assignments, you're going to see an embedded video. An embedded video is one that I actually recorded. You could actually, if it appears up on screen, you can actually watch it in Canvas. And you'll hear me talk. If you need closed captioning, you can click on the CC button. I don't know why the screen's doing that right now, but you can watch that. Now, if there's, for some reason, your video does not appear, if this video does not appear on screen, there's always a direct link. There's a direct link in the instructions page right here that points to Screencast-O-Matic, which is where the video is actually created. And you can click on it and watch it there, and I can guarantee it's going to appear here. Also note, if a lot of people aren't visual, they like to read things step by step, that closed captioning that I told you about, the actual script is right down here. So if you want to be like, okay, what did Chris talk about or zero in on? And you can read what I'm actually saying, you can follow along here. Yeah. 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 Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that as an aside. You're not using Camtasia.
No, Screencast-O-Matic, this is an actual application.
Okay, and we have access to that?
No, I paid for this out of my own pocket.
But it's a purchased item like Camtasia.
It's not an actual software program, it's a web application, and they have a Java applet that you download and install on your computer.
Because Camtasia is not getting it.
Right.
I've been working on something that's been an open problem for 8 years, 6-volt hub.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Right.
And I get rid of it. So I'm looking for an alternative.
I had instructional material that I had to create in the learning curve. I just didn't have time to be able to put effort into Camtasia, and I found this program. It's been perfect. I write, usually how I do the creation, to explain the creation of this, I write the script out first. So step 1, do this, step 2, do this, and I record it. And then I put headphones on, and then I hear myself play back, and then I'm just following the video you're actually watching. I'm just following along to what I'm saying. So it's 2 separate things combined into one video. It's been very efficient. So how to use this video? Faculty who watch this video on the first run and then try to follow along with what I'm saying on the very first run, throws them off every time. They'll make mistakes on the actual assignment. When you watch this video, watch it the first time and don't do anything other than take notes. Don't try to follow along in the course of what I'm saying the first run. Watch it the first time, take notes. Then on the second or third time, if you want to watch it again and follow along, go ahead and do that. And you can also use the, like you said, use the timestamps so you can actually go back and reread some of the things that I'm actually saying here. And they'll make it a lot easier. But the ones that actually sit here, click play, and then just start trying to follow along, those are the ones that make the most mistakes on the assignments that have been submitted. Let me go back to modules real quick. For those, I don't know how many have submitted the profile assignment. So for the edit profile assignment, there is no video. However, there is an actual video here. I didn't think there was. There's a video here, and I want to make clear, because this is the one that always gets the incorrect submissions, because you're going to be submitting a lot of, as gentlemen said in the back, URL addresses for your assignments. Because Jim is an actual instructor in your training course, and if you submit to him an incorrect URL address, he's not going to be able to access what you're trying to submit. So I want to make clear, any incorrect URL addresses that are going to be submitted automatically, Jim's going to give it a 0. He's going to give it a 0 initially. And he will send you feedback saying, hey, you submitted an incorrect URL address. Please correct and resubmit before the deadline date.
Save computer expert here. Just did it wrong.
If you submit, so if you, like, let's say today's today. So this assignment, this profile assignment, due on Sunday. If I'm in this course, and I submit my profile link incorrectly, and Jim grades it today, I got a 0. However, if I correct it before the deadline date, he will go ahead and and grade it accordingly and everything else. But if an incorrect URL is addressed and we contact you and you don't correct it, you'll still get that 0 for that actual assignment. So I want to make clear on this edit profile assignment what you need. Now I'm going to go real quickly over this because it's already explained in the video and the instructions here. So later on, you can read the instructions on your own. But the idea of the actual assignment is if you look up on my screen, I click on accounts, and then I click on profile. And then I'm going to add all my profile information. Now I want to make notes, and I don't think I can make this any bigger. It's only going to make it bigger. Up at the very top of the screen here, you can't see, you might not be able to see it, but the address says gcccd.instructure.com/profile. 99.9% of the time, that's the address we get submitted for this assignment. And if we get that, and I click on it for myself, it goes to my profile. It doesn't go to your profile, it goes to my profile. So what you do is when you're ready to submit the actual assignment, you're going back into your actual course, CTF2, I'm going in the actual course, and then in the people, I click on the people link, and I find my name. And when I click on my name, there is a different URL address up at the top. So the different address is courses. It just says 11,289, user number 35. That is the address that I submit. Two things to check as far as making sure whether or not you correct and watch the video. You're making sure you're watching the correct video. Number one, watch my video. And watch it a couple times to make sure that when I'm telling you to copy the correct URL address, make sure what I'm telling you to copy kind of matches exactly what on the page, so you can make sure there. Two, what I actually do is I'll sit here and I'll copy this, and then I'll open up a new tab, and I'll just paste it in. And if it goes to the correct page, if it goes to my profile, and I know that's my profile that I need to submit, then I know I'm submitting the correct address. And then three, you can email us in the conversations inbox, hey, Chris, this is what I'm about to submit. Is this the correct address? And then we can confirm it that way as well. If you're not.
Also, that happened the last time in class was, say, Sunday morning, I would see that most people have submitted, and I'll go through what's called speed grader, which is kind of a quick way to go one after the next, and just look at it, and I can see if the URL was just way off base. And if it was, I send a submission comment and just shoot it out, go on to the next one, shoot it out. But people didn't have their notifications set up to be immediately notified that there was a submission comment, and they didn't jump right back in there and correct it. So what happened was I do that on Sunday morning. Well, they wouldn't look at their email or whatever it was until Monday morning. Too late, 0, because I warned you in advance. You did nothing. Yeah.
And one thing I want to make clear too, because we gotten feedback because what we're saying right now might sound kind of strict. But this is another, not only is it we're helping you build your course, going through this process, you're going through some of the things that you're going to be going through with your actual students.
You know, when you submit multiple times, it doesn't really matter. What I see in the speed grader is I see your latest. And then there's a little pull down, which I can tell means, hey, there have been others.
Right.
Okay, so he said something about, well, really, would you look at the last two of your comment? Well, then I can pull it down, I can look at the last two. Otherwise, I would just click on the latest.
Right. Okay.
Because a lot of these things that we're going through right now, it's going to help you as you deal with the roadblocks that you're going to be facing with your students as they're trying to get, submit their assignments. So, all right, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover here. No, that's about it. That covers my part. Are there any other last minute questions before I turn it over to Jim? Yes. Mm-hmm. We'll probably have to go into maybe some, do you have we can download that picture again and maybe we can. We can take a new one right now. I can go over there and take a new one. Show me it when we're done. We can show you the picture.
With URL.
So Jim, I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. I know you wanted to talk about the final project checklist. Sure. Well, I'll go ahead and actually. I don't know if we can. Oh yeah, we. Let me go ahead and stop.